Hello, wonderful. This is Sarah, and I'm here with Angela in Holton. She's an author, she's a dating coach, and the creator of Conscious Love and Dating Method. And I don't know how many of you have been given the advice to just go through life in autopilot or just not even think your way through things or just, go not with the flow, but just go blankly through life. And I'm guessing none of you have been giving that advice. But Angela and I know that many of you have been trying to do that with dating. And so she is here with the secret method of conscious love. How are you, Angela?
I am wonderful, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me in that lovely introduction. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. And I know we have a lot to talk about
Thank
because
you.
we both talked about the danger of scarcity mindset when it comes to finding love.
Yes, absolutely. And that's unfortunately, the narrative that's out there right now is we have to find someone to complete us, to feel better about ourselves, to eradicate our loneliness and being stuck with ourselves for a lifetime. And from that mindset is where we attract a scarcity type relationship, a relationship that's going to be of a low frequency, a low vibration, and as you would call it, perhaps a toxic person, because we're not showing up as our authentic, highest expression of ourselves, fully in love with ourselves. And I don't mean that in a narcissistic way. I mean in a self-affirming, self-accepting way, that we're not approaching it in that frame of reference. And so until we change the narrative from dating that I'm already full, I'm already abundant, life is great, I'm fulfilled, I found purpose and magic in my life, I'm happy, this relationship is going to make me happier. Till we change that, relationships are going to be topsy-turvy, and we're going to attract those unhappy, unhealthy relationships.
Well, I remember the early stages of dating my husband, and there was something that happened, and I said, well, don't worry about it. It's not your job to make me happy. And he went, what? Yes, it is my job to make you happy. I said, no, it's my job to make me happy. And it's such a brilliant framework. This was very early in our dating relationship. And when you have both people trying to make the other person happy and also feeling responsible for their own self-happiness, there's just like little happy birds flying everywhere, it creates
Magic
healthy
formula. It's a magic formula. And it's like you're taking your partner off the hook for, assigning them an exhausting, impossible role. No one can be assigned the task of making you happy. Think about that for a moment. Make me happy. Wow. Over and over and over again, every day, show up and make me happy. It's a lot of work. And we can't give God-sized needs to another person that only God can fulfill within us. Purpose, fulfillment, joy, self-worth. Those are internal tasks. The partner, they complement it, they add to your level of happiness to make you happier.
You said a phrase which I loved, and the quote was, you are the person you're looking for. Can you tell us what that means?
We often attach certain ideals of a relationship, this person that's going to make us happy, this person that's going to fulfill our lives and fill these little holes and pockets. But really those pockets and those holes, those voids that we feel are our own voids that we need to fill. It's the relationship with ourselves that we're often evading and running away from. And so I like to encourage my clients and women, the person that you're looking for, who is that person that you're looking for, and are you that person? Become the greatest partner, become what you're seeking. And when you become what you're seeking, you magnetize the mirror reflection of that, right? It's the law of the universe. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So what you put out, you'll get back. But if you're looking for someone to give you something that you have a deficit in, I'm not saying that everything has to, you're just a perfect person. No, but you want to show up with a cup more than half full, I believe, when you're approaching a relationship, and you want to be who you're seeking, become that person. And then you'll have a relationship with yourself, a sense of gratification and fulfillment with yourself. So if that person doesn't come along in a timely fashion and they get lost, they can't find the GPS to find their soulmate, you're happy. You're fulfilled. You wake up and you feel a sense of purpose. You feel a sense of connection. Your relationships with other people are healthy. And then they come along and they add to that. So become who you're seeking. And that's you. That's who you're looking for.
Do you think it's more difficult in the times of quarantine and corona? I've had so many people feel so frustrated because the normal strategies of going out and meeting new people and having an invigorating life with filled with people and purpose is trickier right now in some ways. So have you found that more difficult during this
Actually,
period?
no, I haven't, Sarah. Your listeners are probably going to be like, what's she talking about? I don't want to anger your listeners, but I really encourage women to get out there dating during the pandemic. I found it an optimal time for relationships to create a foundation from the inside out, from the qualities that I speak about, from the mental and the emotional connection. During the pandemic, we had to delay the physical gratification, touching someone and that those butterflies and that chemistry, which is often that toxic person or toxic wounding relationship. And so I have a client that got married. I actually officiated their wedding. They met during the pandemic.
I saw that on your Instagram. When I was looking you up, I saw that on your Instagram.
I met someone during the pandemic. So it's really, what is your intention? And if you're going to bemoan about, we can't change the pandemic. We can change it collectively, but not individually. So how are we going to navigate a new way of dating? How are we going to create the tools and the actions so that we can still go out and create what we want? I know the dating apps are not fun, but it allows you to connect with people around the world. What other platform allows you at a click, a swipe, to meet someone and to potentially meet your soulmate? And so while it can be frustrating, if people change the approach and the attitude about it, it's all about your attitude, right? If you can approach dating with curiosity, lightness, like, okay, I'm going to go out there and have fun, be curious, get to know myself and how I show up in relationships and really get a sense of who my ideal partner is. That energy, that shift is what attracts and magnetizes those fun, healthy dates and relationships towards you. So get out there dating on these apps during the pandemic. It's a powerful time.
Do you recommend, what's kind of your structure on that online dating process? Is it you meet someone, text, try to get to a video as quickly as possible during the pandemic time? What's your timeline to some extent and strategy?
I love it. Great question. So I like to encourage not to do a lot of texting too much on the
Agree.
you make a connection. And then, now that a lot of the apps have a built-in telephone or built-in video call, get to one of the either quickly. Like, let's schedule a call, a time to talk. Let's schedule a video chat. I like to do the phone call first before we go right into a video. And then you sort of get to ascertain or someone's character, or you get to know their energy a little bit. And if there's any kind of connection, I don't like to call it a spark because people often look at spark as this chemical thing. Like it's supposed to.
A spark can catch on fire.
And they do catch on fire, right? So, do you have a good time talking to someone on the phone? And if you have a nice time talking on the phone the first time, then you want to set that virtual date or virtual connection and then meet in person. I like to encourage women, to be safe, to create a Google phone number, a number that's separate from your, personal and professional number. Do the things that feel safe. Meet for a short, brief in-person date. Time is precious. It's the most precious commodity we have. You won't get it back. So I encourage a coffee. Everyone has time for a 30-minute coffee. So whether it's a good date, successful date, not a successful date, you don't feel like you sacrificed or gave up so much time. And if you learn something new about yourself in any encounter, I believe it's not a waste of time, because that's what relationships and encounters are about, is gaining valuable experiences about ourselves. So get on the phone, get on the virtual date, meet in person for coffee. Don't do dinner. I don't encourage the 3-4 hour dinners unless you've connected over weeks on the phone and you really feel like you want to engage and commit that much time with someone. Great. But initially 30 minutes, coffee, it's innocuous, and you can really dash out of there quickly if you need to.
So what strategy do you have? Say I've been on 3 or 4 coffee dates and I'm starting to get a little disappointed or I know I shouldn't, but I'm starting to kind of go, these are terrible. This is a waste of my time. I'm never going to find someone. Do you have a tool or a strategy that kind of shifts people's mindset at that point?
Yeah, I think disappointment comes with too much attachment to the outcome. When we're disappointed, it's because we want that coffee to be the one. And that expectation it's a lofty expectation. And when it's not met, we're disappointed. Try your best it's just coffee. It's just coffee, whether it's 3 dates, 4 dates. And just know that each time you're interacting, I look at it as though like, okay, let's just say there's 50 people between me and my soulmate. Okay, had a coffee date with one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, I got 4. So I'm 46 people closer to my soulmate, right? So look at it as though you're weeding out, you're sifting. It's exhausting. I get it. It's frustrating. But if you shift the mindset that you're going to have fun, you're going to be curious, you're going to be playful, you're going to be light, you're going to explore and learn yourself. Use dating as a mirror to see yourself. Because we often think, oh, we're ready for this soulmate to show up, this life partner. And yet we can't really even speak authentically on a date. We are, we're reserved. We don't speak authentically. We don't speak honestly or transparently. So dating is an opportunity to practice. Take a break if you get tired, but get back up like you do anything else in life. Protect yourself, take care of yourself, but don't give up. If it's something that you want, you won't stop.
So we've talked a lot about getting to date 1.
Yes.
What about date 3 or 4? And then you feel like, I'm not going to ask the sex question. I've already had that conversation with someone this week. And so
I love it. Ask me. I want to know the sex question.
Wow. Well, let me ask this question first. And then now you've distracted me. I'm hardly ever flustered, Angela. Look, I'm a blushing bride. No. What about the guys? They seem to be not that interested in a relationship. You invested 3 or 4 dinners at this point, and they just feel non-committal. What is your advice in that situation?
Keep it moving. There's another bus coming, right? If he's not showing, we're speaking about men, whether male or female, whatever the partner you're attracted to, if they're not showing their interest, you don't have to beg someone to call you, to show up, to make the next date. When they are into you, they're planning the second date before the first date has finished. If they're not.
My husband asked me on the second date before our first date because it was 2 weeks. Yeah, it was 2 weeks in between when we met and when we went out. And so he'd text the whole time and all that kind of stuff. And then he said, well, it took me so long to get the first date. Let's go ahead and plan the second date. So we went out on a Thursday and then went out on a Friday. And then I asked him on a date Saturday to meet my friends. And we've been together 5.5 years or something.
Wonderful. See, and he was very clear in his intention of what he wanted. So if your person is not calling and they're not consistent and you're like, they skip 2 days in reaching out, or, you have a date and then you don't hear from her a week, they're probably not your person. And it's okay. Move on, right? Your person is going to be into you as much as you're into them. And if they're not, if we're rooted in our personal power and our integrity and our self-worth, it's not rejection. We're not so disappointed. You're kind of like, I kind of like them. But think about it. If they're not into you, how could they be your person?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we want someone who's not into us to be our person? You want someone who's going to take initiative, who is interested in seeing you on the second date before the first date even happens, right? I love that your husband did, and who's clear about their intentions. Anyone can write what they want on a profile. Mm-hmm. But are their actions showing up? Are they measuring to what they're saying they want? A man, a person, a woman will be very clear on their intentions and consistent and integrity with their word. And if they're not, lift the chin up, keep moving, keep going, and no, they're not your person. You're not going to.
Well, you said there was another bus coming. Yeah. And when you said there was another bus coming, I imagined there being another bus coming. But then I'm like, but this guy, I liked him, and just running after the bus. I'm like, what a ridiculous image that is when there's these other buses coming, but we are running as hard as we can after a 3 or 4 date bus.
Yeah, you don't have to chase a bus. You don't have to chase a person who's interested in you. They're going to want to pursue you. They're going to want to have more of your time. They're going to want to plan. I'm going to go back again, plan the second date before the first date, like your husband did. That's the level of interest you want from someone. And if they're just there to date and have fun and have casual relationships, and that's fine, no judgment on that. If that's what you want, that's great. But if you want more, or someone is very honest and saying, I'm not looking for a relationship, believe them. Never think you're going
Yes.
to change someone's agenda or desires or what they want. And know that when you close a door, isn't there always one that opens? When you miss the bus, another one is always coming. It may feel like it's never going to happen again, but it always does. As long as we put ourselves back out there and we scrape our knees off and, lick the wounds and take some valuable lessons from those experiences, something else will come. Someone else will come, and it'll be even more enhanced than what you experienced before.
I heard one time about something like getting fired from a job and a breakup. And when it's a job, we may have really liked that job. We may have loved that job. We may have found part of our identity in that job. But we don't think, oh my gosh, that was the only job for me and I'm never going to work again. And applying that strategy to dating and saying, oh, I liked that job. I loved that job. I found, not that you want to find your identity in a relationship, but if you've been with someone a long time, there's a merging in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't think, oh, I'm never going to get hired again. And,
never think
we can also think.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I like to sort of compare dating to looking for a job or looking for a house or a car. If one shoe doesn't fit, you don't just stop giving up your search for a home in real estate, mm-hmm. right? Keep looking till you find that ideal match. If your job, if you don't get responses from sending your resume out, do you just stop sending your resume out? If you go to the interview and you don't get the job, no, you keep going. You're in pursuit till you land the perfect job for you. When you're buying a car, you go out and you test drive other cars. You're like, yeah, I thought I want an SUV, 4-wheel drive.
Right.
I want a sedan. You taste the smorgasbord. You get familiar with what's out there till you understand what you want. And you don't quit, right? I mean, when it's something that you want. So dating, while it seems more invested in our hearts, if we can not be so attached to the outcome and so attached to the emotionality of relationships and not forget the logic part of relationships, we can have more fun and get back up there like we would a job. And that's what I encourage my ladies. They like frown and you can, pout for a little bit, then get right back out there.
I like to have a timer set for the pouting, whether it's a weekend or an hour, but we don't want to get in the habit of practicing being sad. Or the habit of being disappointed, because those feelings will start to be our new normal, which isn't sexy. Yeah. There's nothing cute about being sad.
I like to call it like metered parking versus a parking lot,
Okay, yeah.
Use the sadness, those heavy emotions as metered parking. It expires after a while, but don't make it, right? It expires. Don't make it a parking lot. Don't leave your car. Don't leave yourself in that space too long.
I love that. I'm gonna use that again.
Please use it.
I will.
Part of it I took from my dad, but I added a little bit more and made it my own.
I love it. My dad's very smart too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the sex conversation, because I know women often think, well, I don't want to date a lot of guys because I don't want to have slept with a lot of guys, which I think those are two separate conversations, but I would love to know your thoughts on that and how to protect yourself without appearing, just living in your own integrity in every way in that conversation.
Yeah. So first I want to say, you don't have to sleep with every person that you go on a date with. So you don't have to worry about how much you're dating because that equates to how much sex you're having. Take that off the table. I like to have women start off before they're out there dating. What do you want in this next relationship that's going to be different from your other relationships? How have you approached sex in the past in your relationships? Has it worked for you? And if it hasn't, how do you want to shift and change that relationship with yourself and with intimacy and a new partner? And
I'm going to stop you right there because I want to say, like, okay, stop, ask, did it work for you?
Yeah.
And if not, change it. If I could change one thing about the human population, it would be us all being able to actually ask and answer that question, because we don't. We're like, oh, but if I change something, it might be really scary. And it's like, if you don't change something, you should be scared because you already know it's not working.
You already know it's not working. And so if you've tried a lot of casual sex or you've had a lot of sex on the first dates or very quickly and it hasn't worked for you and it's caused a lot of disappointment, maybe there's something to shift and change there. So I like to encourage women particularly to get clear on where does the level of the relationship need to be before you engage in sexual intimacy. Is there the conversation of exclusivity? I'm not saying it has to be 10 dates, but what does the relationship need to look and feel like for you to feel safe to engage in intimacy? Don't wait to have the conversation after you've made out in the bed and had sexual intimacy and say, okay, are we exclusive? And then you're disappointed when they're like, well, no, I didn't think we were. Well, but we just had sex. But so get clear on what you want and your desires and your expectations before that happens. And
get clear and be clear. Like two things. Yes, because get clear in yourself first and then be clear because I see women, they might tell their girlfriend what they're going to do, but they're not willing to be clear to the people they're dating.
Yeah, you have to be clear. And, it's not like you have to say, well, I'm not having sex with you on the first date till we've been together 3 months. No, you don't have to have that. But, you are responsible for your own body and we're in charge of our own bodies. You get to say yes or no at any time, but really honor your integrity. If you're deciding, okay, I want to try things differently, be consistent and in integrity with your word. And for me to engage in sex with this person, I want us to be in an exclusive relationship. I want to know that neither one of us are on the dating app anymore. And that, he's not seeing anyone else or she's not seeing anyone else. I'm not seeing anyone else. And then we have the conversation. If that's important to you. I don't like to say how many dates, or is it the next date, or is it the first week? Is it 6 months, 3 months? It's your own feeling of trust and safety and knowing what you want and being clear, like you said, and knowing that the relationship, at least his intentions are the same in that moment as well. There's no guarantee that it's going to end in marriage or, but at least in that moment, you're on the same page and he or she desires the same things from you.
And what kind of warning sign or red flag do you consider it when there's guys texting about whether or not you're going to have sex even before the coffee date or the I loved the my listeners could not see her face just then.
Oh, yeah. That was like, wait a minute. That's an immediate delete block, that's someone who's just looking to have fun. And I think, you can learn a lot about a person, not a lot, but you get a little peek into someone's character by what they post, the pictures they post, what they're looking for. There's certain things I really don't like. I don't like to be called anything outside of my name from someone. I'm not your cutie. I'm not your babe. I'm not your beautiful. I'm not your lady. Hey, lady. And we just text and 2 seconds ago, or good morning, beautiful. Good morning, sunshine. No, those are terms of endearments that you have to earn to call me that. You have to know me to call me something outside of my name. And so and then I feel it's such a generic response and it feels very disingenuous. So if you're saying I'm beautiful and I'm Miss Sunshine, well, how many other sunshines are in your life this morning? Yeah.
Well, and I want to point out something you said. Yes. You said that's an immediate block. That's not an immediate, oh, I need to give this person a lesson. Oh, I need to change their behavior and try to protect the next girl. Oh, I need to tell him, because I see a lot of people that actually their energy moves toward that person. And they may be trying to almost go into school marm or mom mode of wow, you shouldn't do that. But I really wanted to emphasize that you said, and I agree, that's an immediate block. That's the last conversation. It's not, let's engage in more conversation in hopes of me changing you.
Yeah, not at all. Not if they're already talking about sex and you haven't even met in person. That's a clear boundary that's being crossed. And I think they're stating their intentions, not even indirectly, very explicitly. So if it's what you want, fine. If the person's attractive and you're like, well, yeah, why not? I have to go out and I want to have sex. Fine. There's no judgment. But if you're looking for a real relationship, a healthy relationship, that's a block. And I will say, we don't have to show up as teachers on dates and thinking we're going to change people, because we're not. Right? Yeah. We're not. But I will say on some of the dates that I've been on, I do find that I would like to encourage women to be honest and transparent when you're not interested in someone. It really does do them a favor when you let them know why.
Oh, yeah.
I don't run away from that. I don't skirt that issue. If I'm not interested, I'm going to tell you why. If we've gone, I sort of meet the level of response at the level of engagement. So if we've gone out, if we talk text or something, that doesn't really warrant a full on like, well, you said this, and no. First couple conversations, maybe, but if they continue to reach out to me and I don't feel the connection, I'm not going to waste their time. I'm going to let them know it was great to connect with you. It was nice meeting you. You seem like a lovely person, but I'm looking for something different. Go straight at it. Go straight at it, because that directness, that authenticity, that integrity is what you want. So put that energy out there. Don't ghost anybody. Don't have someone wondering, well, I thought we had a great date and I haven't heard from them, because no one likes to be on the other side of that. So if you had a great date with someone and for whatever reason, something turned you off or you don't like something, you give the kindness and the decency. I believe it's just being decent, letting someone know. And I've said certain things to men, they say, thank you. I had no idea. I had no idea I said that, or I had no idea I did that, or I didn't know that's what women like. I'm like, I don't know about all women, but this is what I like, so sometimes people need a little direction and they will learn something going forward on their next date. The same with us. Wow, I did this and didn't hear back from them. And like, I remember before when I was living in New York, if there's someone that you meet, you can you don't hear from them, you can always say, hey, I thought we had a nice time. Did something happen, or am I missing something? And then they may say, well, you said blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, oh, okay. Because I want to know. Is it, not from a place of shaming and blaming myself, but I want to know, how did I show up on the date as well? And if I thought there was a connection and I was interested and thought they were, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from them, can you just tell me what happened? We're just educating ourselves. I wish we always show up with more humanity and kindness in dating.
I mean, don't you would just wish we could show up with more fear? And I'm just kidding.
More accountable. I love what you talk about in your book, and there's so much responsibility and accountability in dating and relationships. Take accountability, take responsibility. What can you own, and how you show up, and not project and press and push and blame and shame someone else, because we're the common denominator on every date that we're showing up on. So
I love it. Well, I have to ask every dating, but you can probably guess what I'm going to ask. Where are all the good guys? And I ask that to every dating coach, and the answer is always the same, but go ahead.
Really? The answer is always the same. Oh my goodness. What if I don't get it right and I say something different? I think that's a kind of a twofold question. Well, in terms of, I think you can find good people. If you're a good person, where do you spend your time? And where would someone if you want to meet someone, where would someone who wants to meet you, where would they be? Right? Where would that person be? If you are a good person, you're engaged in certain things, where would the person you want to meet, where would he be to meet you? That's where you meet them. And you can also meet them in places where you share commonalities, where there's things that you enjoy. So if there's things that you enjoy and it's not you don't have to be so cryptic or so strategic, and where you go hang out, like I'm going to go down the aisle at Home Depot, or, do what's organic for you. Because when you are enjoying yourself and having a good time and spending time doing things that are your hobbies and your interests, there's an inner radiance, and you're glowing, you're having fun, you're playful. People see that, and you become a magnet to people like, oh yeah, she's enjoying herself. She's enjoying her life. I want to be around her. So I would say, go where you want someone to find you.
Well, I love it. And that's pretty close to the answer everyone gives.
I want to hear what everyone else says.
Well, they just kind of say everywhere, if you're vibrating at a great energy and you're a person full of joy and purpose, you're going to find other people like that just in your natural life, but dating apps are fine too. And if you are not, you're not.
Yeah, it's true. And if you are in that place of magnetism and you're in your inner radiance and your glow, you will magnetize, as I have myself on Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs. You will attract opportunities, dates more potential on the dating apps because that's the energy you're putting out. But if you want to do it in person, you'll attract it wherever you go. But if you go where someone who's looking for you would go, where would they be?
Mm-hmm.
If it's church, if it's bowling, if it's the golf, the golf club, the tennis club, what are your interests? Where do you like to spend time? Where's your happy place? That's what I think. Because when you're happy, people want to be around you.
Angela, where can people find more out about you?
Yes, you can find me at lovesanctuary.com or Instagram at Angela N. Holton, where I'm more visible. I'm on Facebook, but Instagram is really a little bit more of my jam. But I'm taking a little bit of a pause there, it's a lot of work to be on those social media apps.
It is. Facebook's a lot of work to be on right now anyway, because there's so many conversations. I mean, there are on Instagram too, but it's been a interesting time to be a human.
Yeah, it is. You will find me on Instagram. I do read through all my DMs. I respond to all my DMs in a timely manner when I can. So that's where you can find me. And yeah, thank you so much.
Well, check her out and check out her book, The Secret Method to Conscious Love Workbook and Journal. There it is. What is it? I didn't write that part down. Deepen understanding of yourself and improve your dating and relationships. Angela, thank you for helping us on our journey to becoming toxic person proof.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. This is great. Thank you, everyone.